Welcome to the show, Mr. Bindra. Now that Unity Small Finance Bank has paid the first tranche to the depositors of PMC Bank, which was a priority. What is your long to medium term roadmap for Unity Small Finance Bank?
The Unity Small Finance Bank is, as you know, just got started, and the first leg of our journey is integration. So we've integrated two businesses from Centrum into the bank, the microfinance and the MSME business. That was done in November, starting November last year. In January, we got the approval to transfer the assets and liabilities of PMC Bank into Unity as well. So that work is in progress. And we are soon going to begin the integration of the Bharat Pay liability side and the asset side business into the Unity Bank. So the first phase of the journey is integration of these three different entity businesses into Unity Bank. And once we've stabilized that, then it's about growing scale in the business. We want to be a predominantly retail and predominantly digital bank. That is, all our offerings will be available to the customer on the iPhone app, tablet, etc. And clearly it will be available 365 days, 24/7, etc. So that is the longer term objective.
Apart from the two businesses which you're inheriting from PMC Bank, which are the new lines of businesses in terms of credit that you're planning to launch?
So that is work in progress right now. We are evaluating several businesses. We will do at a time a few products, things where we think we have sufficient competitive advantage to scale. So we will start with a few of those to begin with, and then gradually increase, but it's not going to be a full launch of everything at one time.
And recently there was a ICRA ratings when they assigned the rating to to Unity Small Finance Bank. They have noted some of the expected losses arising in the medium term because of the high integration cost and operational cost. When do you see Unity Small Finance Bank start making profit?
So we think operationally we'll be profitable very quickly.
Okay.
In fact, because the businesses that we are integrating from Centrum are already profitable. The businesses we will integrate from Bharat Pay are already profitable. Most of the businesses that we are going to inherit from PMC Bank are going to be run down to liquidation. So because they are wholesale business, we don't want to run those in our books. So I think operating wise we'll be profitable, but because of the debt repayment, the deposit resolution, we might have to provide for those payments. So from that point of view, even though it will not be a cash loss, it will record in the accounting books as a negative for a few years.
I think as a small finance bank, you are also mandated to go for an IPO once your net worth crossed 500 crore. You started with more than 500 crore. So an IPO should be there in the 3 years. So from that perspective, I was wondering that is the IPO is there in your mind already, and is there a roadmap?
So the IPO is we are allowed 5 to 6 years after the capital that you mentioned has been achieved. So we have some time. We will be profitable well before the IPO date.
Tell us something about the deposit mobilization, how it is going, because the main objective of starting a bank is to get the low-cost deposits. So how has been your experience in mobilizing deposits?
So we are happy to say that out of the payout that we made of approximately 4,000 crores, more than 2,000 crores is retained with the bank. So we already have a starting deposit of 2,000 crores today.
Okay.
And that might vary over the near term by a few hundred crores plus minus. But that's a very good start to, on day one, in the first very few months, to have a 2,000 crore deposit, I think is already a very good start. and we hope to build from here.
Is there any particular strategy you're adapting to attract new depositors, like offering higher rates on savings products?
So I think that's a given. We have to be competitive. We're a new entrant, so on interest rates we have to be competitive. But over time, we hope we are able to generate enough service quality and good experience, create goodwill, build trust in the new management over time, explore new sources of deposits, etc., to make our deposit mobilization program successful.
Do you have any plans to raise funds in the near term?
So we are self-funded so far our equity, and currently we seem to be comfortable both on capital and on liquidity. But as you well know, banks are a guzzler for capital. So one of the trade-offs of good growth is also increased need for capital. So yes, we'll be coming back for raising capital, but we have the first 3,000 crores committed by the promoters themselves, and beyond that, as and when the call comes, we will have to go and raise capital. But we think for the first 2-3 years, we are well provided.
The first tranche of payment which was made to PMC depositors was provided by the DICGC. So, but every year there will be some money to be paid. So, how do you plan to raise that resources?
We've done the calculations on the payout, as per what was dictated by the scheme. So we have to make that arrangement. But we think if we can keep a steady growth, we will have sufficient generation of cash flow to pay. So some combination of healthy deposit mobilization and some good movement on the performance will hopefully leave us with enough liquidity to meet our obligations.
So what is your experience on retaining the PMC bank depositors?
So like I said, of the first lot, more than 50% have stayed. So far, it's been about 3 weeks since we released the money, and more than 50%, actually 60% as of today, are still with us. So we hope that that trend doesn't change too much now, because I think we saw in the first 5 to 7 days a lot of movement. Now the movement has more or less plateaued. There might still be another 5, 10, 15% who move away, but I think the bulk of the people who had to move away have done, and we are hoping that the rest are likely to stay with us.
Interest rates are certainly going to rise. So what is your view on the interest rate outlook, the overall interest rate? We have seen a benign interest regime for the last 2.5 years, in fact more than 2 years now. Now things are changing. The Russia-Ukraine war has completely changed the atmosphere. So what is your take? How fast do you think interest rate for the entire economy going to move?
I think if I had to sort of make some prediction, I would say the interest rates are unlikely to fall from here for sure. So I think that trend is now clear. How quickly and at what frequency they will go up, by how much, is difficult, because I think the world is in quite a dynamic place. There is the threat of inflation on one hand, there is the war going on the other hand, there is still the lag and lead effect of the pandemic within the country, especially in the informal sector. So I think there has been a lot of disruption in the logistics of the supply chain around the world. So I think all of these factors are playing a role. So I think it is going to be a tough job for the RBI, but I think they will have to straddle and play according to finding the right balance between inflation and all the other challenges that borrowers are facing in the market today.
Governance is one of the issue which has been in the discussion for the last few years. We have seen the experience for some of the banks as the reaction of RBI to the governance issues. How will you ensure governance in Unity Small Finance Bank remains the best in class?
Well, I think if we go with the mindset that compliance is not an option and not a nice thing to have, then I think then it doesn't become such a burden. If you think of it as, oh, we also have to do compliance, then it becomes a challenge, and then sometimes there is a mood to shortcut it. But I think we just have to accept that that's part of the package, that the compliance, corporate governance just have to be at a level that is acceptable and more. Otherwise, the pain of, recovering from a compliance lapse or from a poor corporate is too much. And now we have so many examples in front of us. So it is very easy to understand that. Earlier, people said, nothing happens, what happens, nothing is no problem. But now I think we have seen enough examples, and we've seen the reaction of the courts, we've seen the reaction of the regulators, we have seen the feedback and the response from the shareholders, the depositors, everyone. So, there is no stakeholder who's going to spare you if you do it wrong on will by neglect. So I think one just has to go with that learning and make it happen.
Thank you, Mr. Bindra, for speaking to us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.